This week in Jamaica Now, 98 COVID cases in one day. The Prime Minister announces new curfew hours for 4 parishes.
The new curfew hours will begin at 7 p.m. in the evening to 5 a.m. the following morning.
Nomination day over. Now what? Social media outrage as a dog is painted green by an exuberant supporter.
JLP dog black, see there? No joke.
JLP captain murdered in Clarendon. The political ombudsman and the police are investigating. Portland businessman arrested for the murder of his wife. The police say he paid $3 million for her killing. And business mogul Tony Hart has died. I'm Damian Mitchell and this is Jamaica Now. The government has imposed tighter curfew hours for the parishes of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine and Clarendon amid a surge in COVID cases. On Thursday, the Health Minister, Dr. Christopher Tufton, said there were 98 new cases in one day. 10 were from backlog samples and 88 recent. A day later, word came that 2 doctors at the Kingston Public Hospital had also been tested positive for COVID. Meanwhile, Jamaica has now recorded its 15th COVID death. The Prime Minister says amid the surge, the government has to act.
Effective tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. until September 2, 2020, for the parishes of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine and Clarendon, the new curfew hours will begin at 7 p.m. in the evening to 5 a.m. the following morning.
In the meantime, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa McKenzie, says the majority of the 98 new COVID cases were contracted during the Emancipation and Independence Day period. Over the period, there were several parties and gatherings. But why didn't the government impose tighter curfew hours for those holidays like it had in the past? It was a question to which the Prime Minister responded on Friday.
We picked up that there was a great deal of fatigue, having gone through more than 3 months of some variation of lockdowns. And we began to see where many persons in the society were exhibiting the signs of fatigue. So we allowed a period where, not for breaching, but for a kind of normalcy to return. It is quite unfortunate that there was not a very strict observance of the protocols.
Jamaica's main political parties are now on the final stretch for the September 3 general election. On Tuesday, despite the COVID-19 threat, it was a carnival-like atmosphere across Jamaica as people supported their candidates being nominated for the election. However, the Jamaica Labour Party's St. Catherine South Central candidate, Dr. Andrew Wheatley, and St. Mary Western candidate, Robert Montague, were nominated in absentia. This is because they had gone into self-quarantine. The 2 politicians were earlier in the company of Port Maria Mayor Richard Crary, who on Monday announced that he had tested positive for COVID-19. Montague's test has returned negative, and Wheatley is still awaiting his result. In the meantime, the political parties are also preparing for the political debates. On Tuesday, August 25, the social issues debate will be held. On Thursday, August 27, the economic issues, and on Saturday, August 29, the leadership debate. And there was intense social media outrage on Tuesday after a Jamaica Labour Party supporter painted the dog green.
JLP dog black, see there? No joke.
Residents of Parade Gardens in Kingston Central insisted that the animal had not been mistreated. The man who painted the dog green identified himself as Joe. He said he used water paint to ensure the dog's safety. The paint was later washed off the dog.
It was washable, it wasn't a toxic paint, thank God. So here, mate, I bring some food for him, some treats. So he's healthy and alright. So next time, I don't know if you guys want to come and get him neutered.
Meanwhile, both the police and the political ombudsman are now investigating the murder of Paul Henry, the JLP polling division captain for Clarendon Southeastern. Henry was shot and killed on Sunday night in Rocky Settlement in the parish. He had just erected a billboard at his gate when he was attacked.
I would like to ask if you feel that his death has anything to do with the politics or the season. think so. All right.
No political sympathy. No, none of that.
You ask daddy from where?
Look up from Paul just by him fight politics.
Okay.
Tony first I'm a captain.
No.
Years I'm a captain.
Okay.
I'm a captain.
And him a supervisor.
96 and I'm a captain for 97.
When we not go to meet Paul every meeting.
He did get something there. Must say I'm the co-supervisor list.
JLP candidate Pernell Charles Jr. and the People's National Party's Patricia Duncan Sutherland have both condemned the attack. Popular Portland businessman Everton Beachy Stout McDonald has been charged with the murder of his wife last month. The woman, identified as Tony McDonald, otherwise called Sassy. Last month, she was found partially burned with her throat slashed. 2 other men have also been arrested in connection with the murder. The police say the businessman paid $3 million for the murder of his wife. At the same time, the police say they have reopened the case of the murder of Mr. McDonald's first wife several years ago. Finally, business mogul Tony Hart has died. The development pioneer died in hospital at the age of 87 after battling an illness for some time. Hart was the first Montagonian to be inducted in the private sector organization of Jamaica's Hall of Fame. Condolences continue to pour into his family and friends, including one from Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the PSOJ. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notifications, and subscribe today. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, an excerpt of the Gleaner's Campaign Chronicles with Davina Henry, a part of our Jamaica Votes 2020 election series.
Dalvaz came on Twitter and was like, the horse is a labor right, man, I ask.
Actually, his words were, that donkey is a labor right.
You see, everybody think it's a donkey.
Right? But then you could say that that's redundancy.
You know what? Let's continue. Speaking...
Or hold it. Or is that double negative? I'm just checking.
Speaking of labor rights, you know, nomination day, Rambo woke up, you know, sniffing around the yard for some food, you know, just a look for some chicken bone and thing. And what Rambo woke up in a paint in him face.
JLP dog, you see it? JLP dog black, see it there?
You see that now? You know what that tells you? You notice that the horse wasn't painted.
It had some orange streaks.
Tied on. We're not into animal cruelty.
As is now customary for JLP supporters and candidates, Clark's was the order of the day for nomination day. So, of course, Andrew Holness was in his, Floyd Green was in his neon Clark's, Heroy from Montego Bay in Clark's, Rhoda Moy Crawford from Manchester in her Clark's, and I saw the PNP's Patrick Roberts also came out in his Clark's. And then I saw Mike Henry in what appears to be a Clark's. I'm not a Clark's connoisseur, but do you think that was a Clark's?
You know what? I find the idea that we're questioning whether or not Mike Henry actually has a Clark's to be... It's almost insulting. Mike Henry was probably around before Clark's were invented. And we are questioning whether or not this man would know what a Clark's is. It is shameful. I'm sorry. No. The brother who invented Clark's probably used to call him Mass Mike. So therefore, I'm going to say, you know what? Mike Henry, whatever it is that he's wearing, I'm going to call it. It's probably the prototype Clark's. You never know. He might have had it from when them just invent Clark's.
Wow. The Angel took some time from her busy OnlyFans schedule to do a dub for Juliet Cuthbert.
Right now, Juliet not have no worries. She a lead on everything, yes.
As you know, Cuthbert is going up against Crystal Tomlinson, who is the Angel's ex-husband's now partner. I hope you followed all of that. It's a lot.